Today on Keller at Large, Speaker of the Massachusetts House, Robert DeLeo.
Over to John Keller we go. Good morning. It's always great to have a chance to sit down and talk about current politics and policy with the Speaker of the Massachusetts House, Representative Robert DeLeo of Winthrop. And that's what we're going to do. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Great to be here.
Good to have you back again, Mr. Speaker. So, it's been less than 2 weeks since the brutal murder of Yarmouth Police Officer Sean Gannon, and we've learned since that the suspect had well over 100 cases on his record: stabbings, domestic violence, gun and drug crimes among them. According to the Globe, over the past few years, he was busted repeatedly down the Cape for, among other things, strangling a pregnant woman and stabbing a man, but no jail time. Just recently, the legislature passed a criminal justice reform bill that wiped out some mandatory minimums for certain drug crimes and takes other steps to, in the words of one legislator, quote, lift people up, not lock them up. Mr. Speaker, do you agree that the system that let the accused killer of Officer Gannon walk free is broken, and what's your plan to fix it?
Well, I will tell you, first of all, relative to the criminal justice reform bill, yes, you're right. There were some mandatory sentences that were abolished, but there were also some that were created. And I think that if you take a look at the legislation, I think you'll feel that it's really a balanced approach, and I think it improves upon our criminal justice system. We also increased penalties for operating under the influence on numerous occasions. We now will have the strongest mandatory sentences that will exist relative to the sale of fentanyl that we presently have. We also made a law relative to those who bring bodily injury upon police officers. In addition to that, one of the major parts of the legislation was to see, especially for those repeat offenders, or recidivism, I should say, was a major problem. We saw 40, 50, maybe 60% of the folks who committed crimes going back into jail. So we wanted to try to address that issue, whether it be through increased programs, increased counseling in terms of housing and jobs and the like. Relative to Sergeant, recently promoted Sergeant Gannon, I have to admit or feel that the system failed. Which is this terrible thing to feel and to experience. But
in your view, what is the problem?
I think that right now it's too early to say. I think that in the next coming days, the next coming weeks, maybe even longer, as we learn more and more in terms about the what happened, I think that hopefully we'll have a better opportunity to make a more a better decision in terms of what happened. The only thing that I know is that I'm really concerned about, I can tell you as Speaker of the House, is that we lost obviously a great police officer, and even more importantly, a great man.
Are there too many turn-em-loose judges on the bench in the state?
Well, I think that again, I think that we, you know, in the days and the weeks ahead, I think we have to learn a little bit exactly what happened. We do know.
Well, let's set this case aside, though. This is something we've been talking about for a long time around here.
Right, and I think, and it's happened before. I think, if I'm correct, I think within the last 2 years or so, we've lost a couple of our law enforcement folks. So I think it's something that we have to take a look at.
Well, can you? We have to take a break, but can you be any more specific about when you say take a look at what? Do we need to rein in the judiciary in some way? Is that what you're getting at?
Well, what I'm getting at is I think that we have to take a look in terms of what happened and how a gentleman who had such a record as this person did, I shouldn't call him a gentleman, this person, you know, what happened? How did this occur? A person with pages and upon pages of criminal activity, and how was it that he was out and that he was able to commit this crime?
I mean, the WBZ-TV team reported last week about an audio tape of a Barnstable District Court proceeding where Officer Gannon testified in a vicious domestic violence case involving this alleged perp that was dismissed after the victim, after giving statements to Gannon, then later refused to testify. Is that, and the judge under the law had to dismiss the case, is that something that could use tweaking?
That could be something that we take a look at. But I will tell you, you're speaking about domestic violence, and if I'm correct, I think there was some discussion relative to that he may have tried to strangle this woman. And I will tell you that when we studied the domestic violence legislation that we put into effect here in Massachusetts, one of the first major signs of problems occurring and possibly attempt on a woman's life was the instance of strangulation. So I think there are some really severe signs, and that's why I'm saying the system let Sergeant Gannon down.
All right, we'll take that break, and when we continue our conversation with Speaker DeLeo, we're going to shift our focus to casinos, or rather the lack of them in Massachusetts. So please stay with us.